Hello everyone. I've wanted to make a little video this morning. I woke up with this. This is Thursday morning, the 18th of June, and we're getting to go to church 3 times a week at Meridianville, but the numbers of coronavirus is going up and seem like to me that something's in the making. But So I was thinking about the coronavirus and what we're going through, and I thought about Ziklag, Ziklag. It's in 1 Samuel 30. I'm going to read 1 through 20 in the King James Version of the Bible. It's about David, and it's a little bit to read, but just bear with me. Maybe we'll get on through here. And it came to pass when David and his men were come to Ziklag on the third day that the Amalekites had invaded the south and Ziklag and smitten Ziklag and burned it with fire, and had taken the women captives that were therein. They slew not any, neither great or small, but carried them away and went their way. So David and his men came to the city, and behold, it was burned with fire. Can you imagine that, coming back and seeing the city burnt with fire and all your wives and children gone? And their wives and sons and daughters were taken captives. Then David and the people that were with him lifted up their voice and wept until they had no more power to weep. And David's 2 wives were taken captives, Ahinoam, the Jezreelites, and Abigail, his wife, of Nabal the Carmelite. And I know I'm not pronouncing them exactly correct, but anyway, and David was greatly distressed, though the people spake of stoning him, because of the soul of all the people were grieved. Don't you know they were? Uh, every man for his sons and daughters, but David encouraged himself in the Lord. Sometimes you wake up, nobody's called me yet this morning. Of course, it's about 6:25, but I'm not waiting on somebody to call me. I hope they do, text me or whatever, maybe tell me that they enjoyed these videos. But if they don't, I intend to encourage myself. But David encouraged himself in the Lord his God. And David said unto Abiathar the priest, Ahimelech's son, I pray thee bring me hither the ephod. And Abiathar brought thither the ephod to David, and David inquired of the Lord, saying, Shall I pursue after this troop? Shall I overtake them? And he answered him, Pursue, for thou shalt surely overtake them, without fail recover all. So David went, he and his 600 men that were with him, and came to the brook Besor, where those that were left behind stayed. And David pursued, he and 400 men, for 200 abode behind, which were so faint that they could not go over to over the brook Besor. And they found an Egyptian in the field, and brought him to David, and gave him bread, and he did eat, and made him drink water. And they gave him a piece of cake of figs and 2 clusters of raisin. When he had eaten, his spirit came again to him, for he had eaten no bread nor drunk any water 3 days and 3 nights. And David said unto him, To whom belongest thou, and whence art thou? And he said, I am a young man of Egypt, servant to an Amalekite, and my master left me, because 3 days agone I fell sick. We made a vision upon the south of the Cherethites, and upon the coast which belonged to Judah, and upon the south of Caleb. And we burned Ziklag with fire. He was in the bunch. And David said unto him, Canst thou not bring me down to this company? And he said, Swear unto me by the Lord, by God, that thou wilt neither kill me nor deliver me in the hands of my master, and I will bring you down to this company. And when he had brought him down, behold, they were spread abroad upon the earth, eating and drinking and dancing, because of the great spoil they had taken out of the land of the Philistines and out of Judah. And David smote them from the twilight even unto the evening of the next day, and there escaped not a man of them, save 400 young men, which rode upon camels and fled. David recovered all the Amalekites had taken away, and David rescued his 2 wives, and there was nothing lacking to them, neither small nor great, neither sons or daughters, neither spoil, nor anything that had taken of them. David recovered all. And David took the flocks and herds which they drave before other cattle, and said, This is David's spoil. David recovered all. It's like the difference is in Rehoboam, when the shields of gold were taken, he didn't try to give it back. Um, and this coronavirus, and the people, I think there's people behind it. They've come and they've stolen all this from us. So are we going to do like Ziklag? Are we going to try to recover as much as we can? Maybe we can't recover all. David didn't say, do you, any of you guys know how to cook or clean or whatever? We've lost our wives. They didn't settle. They asked God if they could go back and get it. I don't know, brothers and sisters, if how much of this we can get back, because I know there's a certain amount of it's fulfilling in the Bible. But if we can't get it all back, how about let's try to get as much as we can. Um, David could have settled because they were talking about stoning him. Have you ever just settled? Maybe you settled for less than you'd hoped for because of the pain and possibility of being disappointed again. It was just easier to lower your sights and just go after something easy. No, when gold is attainable, brass will never do. We had gold. I've been talking about the shields of gold, and I didn't know where it was going to fit in, but we had gold. We could go to church anywhere. I miss getting to go to other churches, and I'm making these videos trying to help as much as I can. Don't become casual, because you'll become a casualty. Proverbs 29:18 says, where there's no vision, the people perish, but he that keepeth the law, happy is he. If we shoot for the moon and miss, we may hit a star. But if we shoot low, we'll hit low every time. So I wish we had the answers for this coronavirus. I know it's part of the fulfilling of the revelations, and we need to, there's so many great minds out here listening, and surely we could put our minds together with the help of God. We could get in touch with what he wants us to do. It's hard to settle for a lesser glory when there's a greater glory within you. Call out those seeds of greatness. Set the bar higher. Don't dare settle for a mediocre life. God didn't make us to barely drag through life, barely making it. No, he said we're more than conquerors, and I think that's what he wants. It's already in you. We just have to call it out. Like the children's game where they would say, come out, wherever you are. It's in there. We just need to get it out. I see so much potential in people, and I hope before I can die, I can help get it out of some of them. Psalms 139:14 says, I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works, and that my soul knoweth right well. What a thing he built here. I mean, man tried to duplicate it. A brain. Mine is, I've got water on the brain real bad. I had it since birth, and mine might not be as good as yours, but I'm so thankful for that. It's just mind-blowing to me. Amos 4:9 says, I have smitten you with blasting and mildew, when your gardens and vineyards and your fig trees and your olive trees increased, the palmer word devoured, and ye have not returned unto me, saith the Lord. Joel 2:25 and 26 says, and I will restore to you the years that the locusts have eaten, the cankerworm and the caterpillar, the palmer worm, my great army which I sent among you, and you shall eat in plenty and be satisfied, and praise the name of the Lord that has dealt wondrously with you, and my people shall not be ashamed. I look what the enemy is eating up, like the palmer worm, the cankerworm, caterpillar, and all that. Look what the enemies took from us, children of God, and it belongs to us. He is trying to steal our inheritance, and it's just really sucked the life out of us. I thought about a story I heard. I think it went something like this, and I'm sure there's different variations of it, but these two men went fishing, and one was really catching, and he was catching bigger fish, and he would throw them back in, and he'd keep the smaller ones. And the guy that was with him said, you beat anything I've ever seen. He said, everybody else throws the little ones back and keeps the big ones. What's the deal with you throwing the big ones back and keeping the little one? And he said, well, that's about the size of the pan I got at home. It'll fit something like that. We settle for less so many times. I was thinking about another one where a young girl was watching her mother cook, and she had this pan, and she would get the roast, and she'd cut a little bit off of each end. And the little girl said, "What are you cutting that for?" And she said, "Well, um, that's what my mother always did." And he said, and the little girl said, "Oh, okay." So when she got around her grandmother, her mother's mother, she said, uh, "Grandmama, grandmother, mother says that you always cut off the end of the roast before you put it in the pan." Said, "What did you do that for?" And she said, "That was as big as my pan was." So you need to get us. We need to get us a bigger pan if we're expecting to be like this, to be cramped down. Right now we can go 3 times a week, like I said, but I'm dreading that we get back down to 9 people services like we were, or not even get to go at all. And look around, children of God. Our leaders, our ministers have come down with this virus, and no one's exempt from it. And so I beseech you, I ask you and me to be ready for this thing. If you got some idea of what we can do, if you got some idea of what you want me to do, or need from not want me to need for me to do to help you, let me know, because we got to make it through this. We got to make it through this coronavirus. Look at the people in history, God, the Moses and the children of Israel, Daniel in the fire. I mean, he has never let us down, and he won't this time if we can just get a hold of him. Uh, I told him at church last night, Elijah went in that cave. Satan will push you in that cave, and he'll roll a stone in front of you if you let him. But if we do get, and we've been rolling in the cave, look like to me, and if we are, let's use this time, because in a cave, God can get your attention. I remember Brother Hubert Sampson. He had some side pain, and he didn't go to the doctor about it, I don't think, and he never knew what it was, but it would come periodically. And when he did, he would be down. He couldn't go to church for 3 or 4 days, maybe a week sometimes. I don't remember. But his congregation said, he was at Rocky Branch, and they said, boy, if Brother Hubert gets down for 3 or 4 days, just watch out. Because in that time, when you're in a cave, when you're sick, like I was for 7 months, God can talk to you. And I guess it's evident with these last few days how much I've been talking to God's people. And it works for me that way too. In the night at 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, he comes and talks to me. And I told you before, I asked Melinda, I said, doesn't he want to talk at 9 o'clock in the morning? But I understand. And he can talk to me anytime he wants to. I don't care when it is. He's welcome. He's welcome to talk to me. But the reason is because he's got to get you quiet to speak to you. There's so much noise. You go down the road, you look, and there's an advertisement, and you don't even care about it, but you saw it, and the next thing you know, you've done went a different direction. Maybe you're just thinking about the Lord before that happened, and that's the way it is. You click on something on your iPhone or your computer, or whatever, and that one link takes you to about 14 more. We reading emails, text, and we got our mind pretty well tied up. But may God bless you. I hope that he helps us all. If you know of anybody I talked about sponsoring. I might not have put it out yet. I've talked about sponsoring, but if you know of anybody that needs help, cast your bread upon the waters, because it'll return unto you not many days hence. So love you. Hope everything's going good with you, and feel free to get in touch with me.